This video reviews our daily language program sentences 33 to 36, which concludes the first of the two major collections of DLPs. Now, depending on the class you're in, either AP or honors, I may have split these up differently as far as when you're supposed to turn these in. But generally, for honors especially, after this set of 36 here, that's usually what we do first 9 weeks in the semester, and then our second set that has 30, that's usually what we do for second semester. But I may have broken this up. It depends on what I've told you in class, okay? So let's take a look, starting number 33. Being as, okay, first, that's a bad way to start a sentence. Since or because, much better ways to start adverb clauses, right? So since the diary of Samuel Pepys, pronounced Pepys, anytime we have explanation material, that explanatory material usually goes in parentheses. So since the diary of Samuel Pepys, parentheses, pronounced Pepys, close parentheses, presents a personal look at 17th century London, you can hyphenate 17th century, it is an invaluable resource. Pepys wrote the diary from January 1st, 1660, to May 31st, 1669, using a combination of, and we have parallel structure problem, shorthand and code. Run-on sentence here, or fused sentence. One question has always puzzled readers. Why did Pepys write his diary? Okay, so one question has always puzzled readers, colon, because they're going to tell us what that question is. Why did Pepys write his diary? Question mark. Almost certain, need an adverb, almost certainly, his motive was to have a record of his young and busy life to reread and enjoy in his old age. Rewrite to avoid a stringy sentence. That's where we put and between all of these independent clauses. Pepys was a naval official, and he had a cousin, and the cousin was an earl, and Pepys was president of the Royal Society. Well, some of those we may need to leave, but let's see if we can subordinate some of them. And what you picked out might be even better than what I picked out, and that's fine. Well, let's see. President of the Royal Society, Pepys was a naval official who had an earl for a cousin. How's that? That kind of joins some things together. To the great and small events of his day, Pepys took his keen eye. Okay, you take away and you bring to. So to the great and small events of his day, Pepys brought his keen eye and genial personality and did a good job of recording information. Pepys's family, friends, and him should be he, nominative case pronoun, subject case. So Pepys's, P-E-P-Y-S, apostrophe S. Pepys's family, friends, and he lived through a plague in 1665 that killed thousands. Again, Samuel Pepys's entry, P-E-P-Y-S, apostrophe S, for September 2nd, 1666, describes a huge fire, now called the Great Fire of London, that damaged London, adverb, badly. Number 35. Throughout history, terrible epidemics of bubonic plague swept through Europe, Asia, and Africa. Well, they still do. We still have bubonic plague among us. So, have swept. That present participle shows it did happen in the past, but it can continue today. The germ Pasteurella pestis causes the disease. If you're typing, italicize Pasteurella pestis. If you're handwriting, underline it. Fleas from infected rats transmitted over to humans. Over is not bad right there. You just don't really need it. They transmit it to humans, who spread it between and their selves is a substandard word, themselves it should be, by coughing or other means of contact. The plague germ, which was discovered in 1894, works fast. Sometimes only 3, write out 3, or 4 days pass, P-A-S-S, between the onset of the disease and the victim's death. Misplaced modifier. During the 1300s, historians estimate that 3/4 of Europe's population were lost to the plague. Okay, it wasn't old historians. It's people died during the 1300s. So we could start out historians, meaning today's historians, estimate that 3/4 of Europe's population died from the plague during the 1300s. Were lost to is what we call a euphemistic expression, but many times in essay writing, it's just better to say what you mean. Now, our final set in our first collection here. In the 1600s, when some 150,000 Londoners died of plague, quarantine measures helped to somewhat contain the disease. Well, in English, we use our numbers with our commas between. Some countries use periods, but we use commas after every third numeral. So we count backwards. So 0, 0, 0, comma, 0, 5, 1. 150,000 just helps us to read large numbers a little bit easier. And then we have a split infinitive. The word somewhat needs to be moved. Help to contain the disease somewhat. And then there's a bracket, meaning a word's been left out. If doctors understood the disease better, they would have saved more lives. If doctors had understood the disease better, they would have saved more lives. A journal of the plague year is Daniel Defoe's account of London 1665 plague. DEFOE'. The novelist Defoe did not experience the plague. Here we have a substandard word, himself. It should be, not his self. And then semicolon, or put a period to start a new sentence. His 1771 work is an early example, not an early example of fiction appearing as a report from first-hand observation. I would also add a hyphen between first-hand there. A style now called historical fiction. And your period down here needs to be moved outside the parenthesis. So that takes care of our first major collection of 36 sets of DLPs.